This all began a little over, well, almost a year ago when Don Matthews started sending Melissa Coates presents. He was sending her all kinds of little gifts and everything. It was revealed that Don Matthews was the secret admirer of Melissa Coates. And then, somewhere in the middle of that, it got in between him and Brody Ray Chase. And then at Hardcore Hell this past March, Melissa Coates was the special referee for a match against these two former best friends. And Melissa Coates once again broke the heart of Don Matthews. And ever since then, they've been making life a living hell for Don Matthews, that being Brody Ray Chase and Melissa Coates.
John Johnson, merciless Don Matthews, week after week, his focus has been crystal clear. Get his hands on the stray cat Brody Ray Chase, and it has been put forth. This is a slave match. One of these people, Melissa Coates or Don Matthews, is going to become the other one's slave once this match is over. The bottom line is, who's it going to be? Don Matthews, even though the man's 6'5" or 6", the man weighs 274 pounds. He's still outnumbered 2-1.
Well, you know, Greg Hunter, the thing you got to remember is this Melissa Coates, she isn't your average bimbo.
What was that? Was bimbo? Is that what you're about to say?
I coughed.
Oh,
she's
okay,
not your
sure.
average girl. She's a pretty tough broad.
Well, one cannot dispute how tough Melissa Coates is. I don't know. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, good Lord. Well, that pretty well, words are not required for what we've just seen right there, folks. The stray cat Brody Ray Chase. One thing here I noticed curious. Oh, good Lord. Good. Don Matthews taking Brody Ray Chase to the proverbial shed.
You know what, Greg Hunter? What is the use in that? Why did he have to spank Brody? He was in the ropes.
If nothing else, I can guarantee you it is psychological warfare from Don Matthews.
Oh, that's where you're wrong, Greg Hunter. Psychological warfare and Don Matthews, they don't belong in the same sentence. You got to actually have a brain to have psychology. This man right here's brain's deteriorated due to years and years of inbreeding.
Good grief. Folks, one thing I will say I noticed here, when Melissa Coates and and Don Matthews locked up, and you can see the look right now on Don Matthews' face, he pulled Melissa Coates and set her aside. I don't think, as far as I can tell, he just wants his hands on Brody.
Well, you know, and don't get it wrong, he probably wants to put his hands on Melissa too, but in a way that could get you locked up for 10 to 20 years.
Well, I think there is still, as far as I can see, perhaps still some underlying feeling Don Matthews has, be it returned or not, from Melissa Coates. Right now, punches exchanged between the former members of the Anger Alliance, Don Matthews and Brody Ray Chase, and now sends Don Matthews into the corner. Matthews with the back elbow now sends the stray cat in, elbow by the stray cat. These two guys know each other very well. Deep arm drag by Matthews.
Well, you know something, Greg Hunter, usually I would feel sorry for a Forrest Gump like Don Matthews. You know, just a plain idiot. But you see, really I don't, because he tried to come between Brody Ray Chase and his woman. Melissa Coates has always had a thing for Brody Ray Chase. They've been together. Don Matthews should have known it, and he should have tried to come between the two.
Oh, BFK by merciless Don Matthews. 2. Only a 2 count, says referee Harold James. And right now, Don Matthews go into the corner. Oh, good Lord. Well, that is what it is, folks. And Don Matthews signaling now for the lariat. He's winding up. Oh, good Lord.
Melissa needs to go get a tetanus shot for foot and mouth disease.
Oh, good grief. Boot to the face from the stray cat. And now Brody Ray Chase a wily veteran, distracting referee Harold James, while Melissa Coates uses that riding crop to choke out the native of Hart County, Georgia. And now, the point of the boot right to the mouth of Don Matthews has it set up. It just wrenches that neck back. The neck got torqued, the back pulled across that top steel cable, and now this is just humiliation here. Melissa Coates swinging for the fences with that riding crop. Don Matthews, Don Matthews, I think Don Matthews is once again becoming smitten, and Don Matthews just rammed right into that steel post.
Well, you know, Greg Hunter, I have it on good authority that at one time, Don Matthews was the pride of Hart County, Georgia. That was until Hart County, Georgia's only other resident recently made national headlines by becoming the cow of the mad cow disease craze.
What?
Well, you know, Hart County has one cow and Don Matthews.
Oh, good God. Folks, I apologize to anyone from Hart County who may or may not be watching this.
Me too.
As the stray cat, Brody Ray Chase, adopting a very intelligent strategy right now. Less than legal, nowhere near ethical, but very intelligent. And that is trying to take out the right arm of Don Matthews, crashing against the rail. I'll cover here and only a 2 count. Against the rail and the ring post, trying to take the lariat away from Don Matthews, and we have seen a veritable who's who in NWA Anarchy dispatched by the lariat of Don Matthews.
Well, you know, that lariat is a very, you know, dangerous weapon to the resident of Broken Heart County. You get it? Broken Heart County?
And right now, the stray cat using a top wrist lock to simply pull back and take down Don Matthews. The pressure on that arm, and you can see him holding it gingerly at his side, now being worked over the top wrist lock. And now, interesting version there. Interesting variation, takedown by the stray cat, driving the point of the elbow straight into the canvas. You take away that lariat, you take away Matthews' most potent offensive weapon. And that is a simple fact. That lariat is like a knockout punch. I mean, it is simply put, it's like an uppercut in boxing. When you stop to think about it, same effect. Impact on the jaw, ricochets your head up, and your brain bounces off the back of your skull. The body says enough's enough, and you go out. That's the same principle behind the lariat. Don Matthews is a master of it, and if he doesn't have that right hand, then he doesn't have the lariat.
And Greg Hunter, you know, I hate to say this, but without that lariat, I mean, Don's chances of surviving in this match had dwindled very, very significantly. But I mean, you also have to look at what it could do for his career too. I mean, a broken arm is, you know, as some people look at a broken arm as like, you know, a regular injury. We see broken arms all the time. But with a man like Don Matthews that's made his career on this lariat, it can mean, you know, curtains for him. Not that that's a bad thing, but.
Well, and what's more, just slapping Don Matthews, chops by Melissa Coates. Forearm blow. Make it 2. Matthews back to a vertical base. Melissa Coates teeing off. Knee to the midsection. Another. She sets up third one. Matthews picks her up and deposits her and is wanting Brody Ray Chase.
Is he scared of Melissa Coates?
I think he simply does not want. I think the vibe I'm getting is he doesn't want to hurt Melissa.
Well, he's an idiot. If I was him, I would knock that broad on her butt. I mean.
That broad on her butt.
I like, you know.
Say what you mean, JJ.
But I mean, you gotta fight when you gotta fight. And Don Matthews has to fight. And I think he's scared of Melissa Coates.
I've yet to see Don Matthews be scared of anything. Don Matthews hoisted up. Oh, good grief. Hoisted up into that fireman's carry. Beautiful version of the Samoan drop by the stray cat, Brody Ray Chase.
I hope Don Matthews knows how to clean toilets.
Oh, good grief.
Moldy told me earlier today when I was talking to them, they told me they have a whole list of chores for Don Matthews to do. There's going to be a lot of dusting, a lot of cleaning, picking up certain wrappers and stuff around the house. It's going to be a lot of work for Don Matthews.
The old double Dutch clutch from the Stray Cat. Don Matthews is down. They have continuously worked over the arm, specifically the elbow, the joint itself. And right now, the Stray Cat goes up top. He calls in Melissa Coates. What in the world is he trying to do? Good Lord! Crash and burn. Cats do not fly. There's a reason for that, folks.
Well, you know, they usually land on all fours. Brody Ray Chase not landing on all fours right there. But now Don Matthews trying to get this crowd behind him. And these idiots here are identifying with Don Matthews.
Don Matthews, there's not a man alive, nor a woman for that matter, who does not know the feeling of having your best friend or someone that you have feelings for stab you in the back. And that is what Don Matthews has been going through for months on end. He has the man up. He sets him up. Fall away. Matthews, that arm still in a world of hurt. Press here, lateral press. And a very close 2 count.
That was one thing I was going to point out, Greg Hunter, is that the fall-away slam didn't have the full effect because he didn't have the full thrust of that arm. Of course, that lariat arm, and there you see he's winding up for the lariat, but we see him grimacing in pain.
You certainly do. Looking for that lariat. Elbow shots from Matthews. Short arm, reversal. Sit out power bomb now. Matthews is down. The Stray Cat is down. Brody Ray Chase will be well served. Oh, he's making a cover here. 2. And only 2. Oh, so close. Brody Ray Chase, the frustration you can see there. And now wasting time, calling for Matthews to get to his feet. Boot looking for the ace crusher. Sends him off. Matthews, lariat! Matthews hit the lariat. Cover, 2. And that will do it. Let's go to Kevin Marks for the official word. Merciless Don Matthews is your winner.
Oh, God.
And Melissa Coates now belongs to Merciless Don Matthews.
Oh, my.